This is potatoes O'Brien. On medium-high heat, you want to put in your potatoes when it's really hot. Did you hear the sizzle? It's got to be sizzling hot in order to put the potatoes in. Put all the potatoes in. And you don't want to touch the potatoes at all. Let them just sit here. Get them all nice and flat. Try not to put too many potatoes in a pan. Otherwise, all they'll do is just sit there and sweat. And they'll never really brown. You don't want too many potatoes in one pan. You're better to use two pans than to put too many in one pan. Now you just leave them alone and let them sit there and cook. It's been about 4 or 5 minutes now. And as you see, they're starting to turn brown on the bottoms. And make sure all of them are turning brown, because otherwise all you're going to do is have a layer of potato on the bottom of the pan and you're never going to have a brown potato. So now at this point, you can shake, make sure they're all loose, and then give them a good stir. Then you basically want to do the same thing. It's just let them sit here for a few more minutes and brown again. Kind of stir them all up. The brown sides always have a tendency to want to go back down for some reason, but just kind of give them a little stir. Turn the heat down just a touch to a medium heat and let them sit there and cook again for another couple minutes, and just don't touch them. Okay, a couple more minutes has passed. Now we want to give it another stir. And see, there's not much sticking down there at the bottom, just very little, and that'll come up once you add your bell peppers and your onions. Because the bell peppers are very moist. They're going to add some moisture to this. So you want these nice and crunchy or crispy before you add your bell peppers. This is the third time we've stirred them, and they're not all brown yet. So you just want them to brown just a little bit more. And every type of potato and every size is a little different. I like to use the Yukons because you can use the skins on them. And they're very flavorful, and they've got a lot of good vitamins in them. But let them sit here for a little bit more. I like to add some oil to the onions so that it helps them brown a little bit. So just spray them with a little bit of oil. And then toss them into your potatoes. Make sure the potatoes are browned before you add the onions. Otherwise your potatoes will have a hard time browning. And just add the onions and let them sit for a little bit and do some browning on their own. And they'll kind of caramelize up a little bit. And if you keep it on a medium heat, the onions will start to brown quickly, which is what you want. You want the onions to brown fast so they start to caramelize. So just give them a little turn and then let them sit there again and let them just sit there and brown for a minute or so. Now that the onions are starting to brown, you want to give it a good stir again. See, the potatoes are still browning because the onions aren't putting off the liquid that the bell peppers will. So now that everything's starting to cook a little bit, you want to add in your bell peppers. We added a little jalapeno today. You can add jalapeno to it if you want. And now you just basically let the whole mix just sit here and cook up and let the potatoes soften up now. Now that everything's doing good, let the peppers brown just a little bit, and then turn the burner down to medium low, and then let the potatoes and everything just cook on up. People have a tendency to want to use a non-stick pan. I like the stainless steel, and if you learn to use one, you'll never go back to a Teflon pan again. It allows you to be able to cook the veggies in a proper way and still have it be healthy. At the very last step, you stir your potatoes, make sure they're all done all the way. I like to use a little knife, make sure it pokes through nice and easy. And once it pokes through real easy, that's when you want to add your spices. It's really important to get the spice blend correct. Add it in at the very end so they don't burn. Once you put the spices in, you give them a real good stir. You don't want them to burn. So you want to stir them up really good and make sure the burner's on a low heat at the time. It's really important because these spices will burn if they're on the heat too long. Give them a real good stir. Let them sit there and melt for a minute or two, and your potatoes or brine are done. For exact ingredients and exact amounts, please refer to my book, God's Menu. Thank you.